Action. Hello and welcome to another episode of the LTA Report. We got so much to talk about. Last episode was our sort of state of the league in terms of the content side with David. It was a lot of fun. Today we get back to our regularly scheduled program of talking about, most of the games. Before we start, I just want to say it was really nice beating 100 Thieves and having David dance this time. So yeah, I'm happy about that. But yeah, let's just get right into it because people are talking about it right now on Twitter about All Pro and MVP voting. I'm gonna let you start this one because I do have a lot to say, but I want to see like where you're at with the All Pro. For those who don't know, the first team All Pro was all FlyQuest members, and myself and a lot of other people thought that was egregious. And now the top three MVP choices are three FlyQuest members, which is absolutely ridiculous. But I'll let you go from there.
I guess like two things. So like obviously, yeah, it is so egregious that you have an MVP voting, but the three players are from the exact same team, and two of them I don't think should even be anywhere near MVP.
Busio is on there. Busio, oh my god.
This guy, okay, I love him. Like great player to interview. Always been nice to me. I don't think it was his best split. I don't think he was first team All Pro. And I
Agreed.
definitely do not think he was MVP over some of the players on that list. How is a guy that is third team All Pro in the running for MVP, but then falls off to I don't know, man. And then like the second thing is like the people up in arms about like the type of people that are on that type of people are on the ballots, but I think people need to like understand the landscape of journalism at the moment. Go and look at any of the websites. Like, it is a strand. I think Carver Fisher put it like best at the moment. Like with the state of not only North America, just in terms of like esports coverage as a whole, especially League of Legends, it's so like it's non-existent at the moment. So you're not going. Like, you have to read the room. You're not going to see. Like in the past, you had Dot Esports, Dexter, Esports.net, Esports.gg, all these bigger um like publications. They're all to the wayside. So how is Riot going to fill up that media slot? Well, you do have to bring in creators, and like to be honest, this is one of the better. Like even though I disagree with where the play is finished, this is one of the better groupings of players I've had in a long time in terms of like all pro voting, because there's been some egregious ones in the past, and like between everyone, you can only look at like maybe one or two and say that is completely like left field. But people just need to read the room with like the state of media at the moment. It's not that like you have to be consistently to be on these ballots. You have to be consistently putting in the work for LTA, and these publications aren't because they're not in a spot to. So like that's what I'll answer on the media front, because like people really need to understand why like and I get it. David's a 100 Thieves fan, said it was going to be biased. That's why people will naturally like dislike him. Maybe same with like Arsh and maybe how he may rub people the
And
wrong way.
Meteos was
But
on there too, yeah.
right, but like there's not much more Riot can do on their end than who they can put. And I don't think the ballots this year are troll.
All right. On the media front, I think it's a Riot problem, but not in the way that we talk about it. There have been so many times. There have been like I think about 2016, 2017, 2018 as well, even though Aframo ended up winning, but I still think there were a bunch of troll votes. 2019 I don't remember, but there was multiple years where the players, the coaches were troll picking. You know what Riot needs to do? Every single vote needs to be public, right? They do that, that's awesome. if you're media, first of all, you need to at least watch the majority of the games. Because when we did have the bigger publications and they had media rights, they didn't watch 90% of the games. You just give it to whoever was on the top teams. Not the greatest. I understand why they're not on the publications, or why Riot might not give it to them, even if they're still covering the league. Maybe that's not the case. Whatever. What I think should happen is, if you are on the ballot, you should be open to criticism. There's this thing of like, oh, I should hide my picks, or I shouldn't say it because like then people are going to criticize. No, you are affecting players' titles. In traditional sports, it affects your contract. If you're not voted like an all-star, all of a sudden the amount of money you're allowed to make is like 1/5, right? So there was a year where Klay Thompson, back in like 2019, if I'm not mistaken, didn't get it. And it was clear he was a clear snub, and his contract was like, $50 million less, or maybe $40 million less. That affects huge, like not just your reputation, your like legacy, but it affects how much money you make, right? So like that doesn't happen in League of Legends, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't care. That doesn't mean we should be putting Takui as MVP or first team All Pro. We should not be doing troll things. And as long as the media are not doing troll things, I think they have a right to vote, because they watch sometimes more games than the players. Because again, the players are heavily influenced with scrims. And I think the reason that Whippo got first team All Pro, when you look at the players and the coaches, they tend to scrim Whippo a lot more than they play them on stage, than the games that they remember watching. This has always been a criticism of players, is that you cannot separate in your mind, oh, this person's really good in scrims versus this person is really good on stage. Whippo had absolute trash weeks. He got dumpstered by Fudge. There was that whole meme going around of like when Whippo was like, oh, my coaching staff has Fudge like bottom 3 in the entire league. It was like, I guess Whippo's bottom 2 then, if he's getting destroyed, right? And it's like, if he had such low lows, how can you put his individual performance as first team All Pro because he beat Thanatos? Thanatos has been so consistent. Even his worst games are better than some of are nowhere near as bad as Whippo's games. And if you don't value that, then like you need to come up and say why you value it. And with pros, I'm pretty sure it's because, oh, Whippo and scrims like absolutely runs my top laner. And so I'm going to give Whippo the first team, even though on stage Thanatos has been way more consistent. So like on the pro side, there's that issue. But on the media side, a lot of times in the recent history, media has been a lot more logical than the pros, because they don't have that bias. Like David didn't put Sniper in his all pro, right? He clearly was able to separate his bias. This guy's a professional, right? And guess what? If he's not professional, get rid of him. But all of a sudden, like tweeting at him because you didn't get like a ballot yourself, or you disagreed with what they said, or you didn't even check to see that there were only 5 media people, and how it's like didn't even make like 20% of the votes and didn't affect anything. You could remove all the media votes and it was still 90% like influenced by the players. This is just people complaining because they think there's a problem, and they think the solution is, oh, get rid of the media because it must be their fault because pros aren't stupid. Like, it's just ridiculous that you see a problem and you immediately think you know the solution. You don't even know what the problem is. It's been very frustrating watching people diagnose the issue and then be like, you didn't even look at the who voted and what their ulti. David has a whole video, 12-minute video of who he picked and why. When players start doing that, maybe then we can start talking.
There's literally only one player I disagree with on his ballot, and that's FPI. Like, and that's it. And it's a third team. Like, at the end of the day, okay, it is all pro. Who cares? I
care.
Like, yes, okay, I care to a degree, but the only thing it fuels is my need for my team to win on Saturday, because like the flight quest, like gaslighting is getting a bit much, but that'll be in a later segment.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
I just think it's, who gives people the right to like criticize other like people? Like, at the end of the day, yes, it's like my job or some of these other journalist jobs to perhaps like to analyze and watch all these games. But at the end of the, what credentials do we have over fans in terms of like how we're like some of these people
We
that are
watch
like
way more
criticizing Dave,
games.
like we make, okay, but the
And we
like
interact
most
with players a lot more. Sorry, go ahead. Finish your. Yeah.
so like yes, we do interact with players, but players, people, there is people on that ballot that they have voted specifically on what players have said, and that is bullshit. Like you should not be listening to these players and their opinions of like that should not be like defining your vote. So like yes, I've spoken to players, but that has no. I wouldn't trust half these players in my grocery store, like grocery shop, let alone freaking um, let alone an all pro ballot. Like these guys they didn't even think Loki was any all pro this year. Like
Because of the pros episodes where people were talking about Loki being like a fourth. And again, I'm
yes,
pretty
and
sure that
this
was from scrims, not on stage. Because on stage,
yeah,
he ran every one of
because
those mid
LTA.
laners.
Right. And I said, like, I was trying to speak, I was trying to tell this to people. Look, he had a better split than every single one of those people sitting on that table. Like, even Quid.
I think Quad is the only person you can argue with. Like, I think Quad was relatively
I
consistent.
think, okay, I felt it was recency bias because I felt like that, the positioning phase
Uh
was
huh.
really, really rough on him. And I felt like he did kind of ramp up in the group
I don't
stage.
think it was. I think his team wasn't playing great around him, but I
No,
think
because
like
if
he
you
was.
remember, no, because it all started from, ironically, an APA pros where he said, like, I feel Quad's kind of getting found out, like that he's not actually as good as that people think he is. But I think recent bust maybe on my end where I'm thinking, well, why is he first team when like people? I know people discount the positioning phase, but it's still so important to me, in my opinion, for how you actually vote these like ballots. Because I think people was like honestly, Cloud, do you think people have been thrown by that FlyQuest C9 best of three in terms of like how highly they're rated now versus
Oh, 100%. I'll give you an even more egregious example. Prince, 2023, comes over in spring. He has to play with two different supports, and he's like absolutely the best player in the entire league. And it's not even close. And then they have to FlyQuest play a tiebreaker versus Cloud9, and Berserker beats him. Berserker wins the game. Prince doesn't win. Again, he's playing with his like second support a few weeks in, and he's still like MVP form. Guess who wins All Pro and MVP? Like, guess who wins it? Berserker. Why? Because Prince lost to him. But Prince had such. First of all, the first 7 games of Prince, people were saying we have never seen a better import in the entire history of the league. Prince was by and far a much better AD carry. But because he lost a tiebreaker, people are like, "Oh, it's given to Berserker." And even on the broadcast, they were joking about like the winner of this is probably going to win first team All Pro. And I was like, how is that? Like, let's say Prince played an amazing game that game, but Berserker ended up getting a triple kill because like his team fed, and it was a team diff. They give it to Berserker because of team diff. All Pro is an individual. Like, it's just. I thought that was very, very egregious. I thought it was like so like disrespectful to a player who came into this league and absolutely dominated and showed us a level of AD carry that we like. Honestly, everybody was in love with what was happening with Berserker, with the Prince. Everyone was just like, this is probably the best import. Everyone was like singing FlyQuest praise, and then because he loses a tiebreaker, all of a sudden, oh no, he's actually not that good. Like he's not the best. I thought that was ridiculous. But to your point, same thing is happening now. FlyQuest, everyone's like, oh, they're gonna 3-0 C9. Like, what do you mean?
dude. No, everyone thought like Teal were gonna 3-1 3-0 us. Like, alright, I'm done
I predicted
with
3-0 for you
All
guys. I'm
Pro.
just saying.
Alright, you are a true one. We need to get on to the big one. 100 frauds. You can have the floor.
um, so on Power Spike, I've been tweeting about how Power Spike just like completely ignores us. We beat 100 Thieves in the positioning phase. They didn't say anything about it. We had a very close best of series with FlyQuest. Again, we lost 3-0, but we had a very close one. Didn't even mention us. They didn't even mention our name. And it's like, what the hell? Like, at least show, like, if you believe FlyQuest wasn't playing to their true potential and that's why it was closed, then talk about how FlyQuest is looking shaky. If you believe we we stepped up and we were playing actually pretty well. It's just FlyQuest is a really good team. Mention it. This is like the top seed is playing us, and we didn't even get mentioned. So then I'm like, okay, I tweeted. I don't think I tweeted. I left a comment. I was going to tweet at Digon, but then I didn't. I was just like, whatever. Let me just tweet it, and not tweet at anyone. And then I was like, maybe if we beat 100 Thieves, you'll start mentioning us. And then we beat 100 Thieves, and I wait for Power Spike this morning. And guess what? They talk about how 100 Thieves are frauds and how I will dominate predicted Shopify to win. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Don't you think when you have a show and you have an NA segment and you're predicting an upset, you should mention it on that show? I'm not thinking he is lying. I agree with him. I thought it was quite obvious we should be favorites. We were on the up and up. We kept improving. We looked so much better than we did week one of the split. 100 Thieves look so much worse than they did week one of the split. They have been faltering time and time again. They already lost to us, and we look better than when we played them that last time. And all of a sudden, we're not favorites, and people are expecting 100 Thieves to 3-0 us. I thought that was like completely like narrative based on like, oh, they made it to the finals, so clearly they're a top 4 team. Like they are not looking at the reality of the games, and I'm quite disappointed in people like Emily and Raz, where normally they're on the board. They see what's happening with the trends, and then they talk about it too in the pregame show of how, oh, Shopify are playing so much better. They've improved in this aspect and that aspect. And then they had Huhi go up and show some of the mistakes that we used to make that we didn't make in the last series. And then they're just like, oh yeah, 3-0, 100 Thieves. I'm like, are you guys not consistently following your own logic? Because that's what it felt like. And which is why I believe I will dominate, because he constantly predicts like the underdog of the situation to win. Like 2021 is a very big example of when he predicted Damwon to lose to EDG. And he was the only person, everyone was like, oh, it's going to be a wash 3-0. He's like, look, we have seen this pattern happen over and over with EDG. That's why I'm predicting them. And they won Worlds. And I guess it was 3-2. It wasn't as obvious, but like he's had a good track record of like seeing things the way that they're actually like things as they develop instead of waiting until it happens and be like, it was obvious that the 100 Thieves were faltering. It's like, well, then why didn't you predict it? Right? So anyways, that's just like my gripe with Power Spike. Like they refuse to talk about us. They refuse to talk about us. And then they're just like, oh yeah, it was 100 frauds. I predicted them. I was like, why didn't you say it then? Anyways, that's just my little gripe with them.
And it's even, I think, to paraphrase, even like Jamada and like they kind of all agreed they don't see you as like a true like contender. So they're not like and they value the 100 Thieves at like they are straight up an embarrassment to that top 4. Like people were calling this from time that their playstyle is slowly going to crash and burn, and like that's why immediately they wasn't talking about how well you played. They were talking about how terrible 100 Thieves played.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even saying like you have to glaze our players, but at least mention like the things that Fudge did in his matchup. At least talk like I will dominate. Normally does this. He talks about like specific matchups and how like you're not supposed to win that. What like the York isn't supposed to be beating the Renekton's ass like that, you know, or like Orin really isn't supposed to be doing the things that he was able to do in the game, or like even Contracts had a bad game 1, came back in game 2, game 3 he was absolutely push on Mundo. You know, like at least mention something about the series. They're just like, oh, 100 Thieves frauds. We saw the signs. I even predicted it. It was like, you didn't talk about this the entire time. Anyways, people are like, oh, well, they're not contenders, so obviously they're not going to talk about it. And it's like, well, they talk about bro. Like, you don't have to be a contender to talk about a team, but maybe that's just my bias because it's my team and I want to hear them talk about
very
like,
little
the
NA
upset.
talk as it is.
Yeah,
Because
that's true.
at the start they will talk about C9, and then if there's a mega upset in NA, that's when they talk about NA. They don't talk about NA otherwise.
I think was this not the biggest upset that we've had all split? Like by their standards, but I guess because 100 Thieves were always frauds and we were favorites, they didn't. I don't know. I just
yes, but like I'd probably still argue DSG beating TL in a best of 1 was still maybe like more of a surprise to me.
Yeah, that's true actually.
Clickbait fun there. What does it say?
Oh, I said that we were making finals. Oh crap! What the hell happened? Okay, we're back. Sorry, that was weird. Yeah, I thought we put 100 Thieves in place. I didn't expect it to be so one-sided, to be honest. I thought 100 Thieves would put up a bit more of a fight.
I predicted Hundred Thieves to win. Not gonna lie, not because like I knew the level of both teams, but I valued like if you're going to bounce back properly, you have 3 weeks scrimming FlyQuest, C9, and TL. If you do not learn from 3 weeks of scrimming those teams only, then you have no hope.
Yeah, but they've been getting worse based on scrims. Like we've heard their scrims, we've heard them talk about how bad their scrims have been going the entire split. So
Well,
what?
and then
Why do we
and then they
suddenly assume
said,
that their scrims are gonna
well,
like?
maybe they were just gaslighting themselves after the DSG series, but they said after like they had like a long talk prior to the DSG series that their scrims had been improving. So maybe like that was my like okay. Like if they're in form, they are a much better team. In terms of like their team fighting style can work. But that's not the 100 Thieves that we have had for about a year. Like,
Yes,
oh man, this. Have you seen the NA Men interview that's come out?
with who?
With Golden Blue.
No, I didn't. Oh yeah, I think I saw a tweet.
So
I don't think I saw the
it's
whole thing.
just come out,
Oh no, then I didn't.
but
I
he
didn't.
was saying like in game 3, like I'm paraphrasing here, the draft was the player's decision, and that the coach should have had more input. I'm sorry, my friend, it's time to go.
Golden Glue said that,
Yes,
but Golden Glue literally tweeted out. He's like, "Sorry, my bad on draft game 3."
I'm trying to find it.
While you try to find it, I just want to make a point. I thought even if 100 Thieves of the entire split showed up, not this collapsed version, we were still going to win. I didn't expect them to collapse. I thought all the games were going to be similar to game 1, where like it's back and forth, but like we just are a better team. Because I legitimately thought, looking at the way things have been,
Yeah,
we were
okay.
the better
I've got
team.
the. Sorry
Okay,
to
okay.
cut you off. I've got the quote. So
Yeah.
I said, I don't think I did a good job of controlling the conversation. There was a lot of things that I didn't agree with, but a lot of other people felt strongly about it. So the players overruled him on. But based on that, the players overruled on the draft.
I don't know if it's overruled. Like, if it, the way I read that is like, oh, the players like got champions that they wanted, but it wasn't like, hey, we really shouldn't play this. No, no, no. I really need to play Riven here. Okay, fine. Overruled is like the shy, like
Okay,
don't pick
maybe
Fiora.
overruled
Okay, I pick
isn't
Fiora.
like, but it's a lack of backbone. And
I
as the
don't think
head
so.
coach, I genuinely like if you are the head coach, everything regardless of what these players like do, it's your ass that gets fired, not the players.
Yes, but like think of the context is going on. You had a close game 1, game 2. Your team is like mentally collapsing, and you're like, okay, do I give them the comfort? Like they're asking for comfort because they're like, hey, we this is how we win. At some point, you trust your players, right? Maybe you could
Yes,
argue
but he
that's
said
not
he
the
didn't
point.
want to trust the players. Like he even admitted in the interview he didn't want to trust them. He wanted his own idea, but like he kind of got lost in his own head with like okay, does he put his foot down or does he just let the players play what they want? Which based on that draft, dearie me, I would never let them do a draft again.
I think it doesn't matter. I think both way they like lose just as bad. I legitimately think
They were
that team was
tilted.
mentally
They
collapsed,
were
so it didn't
tilted.
matter.
They were tilted.
Yeah,
But
and
then it
like
looked
it's a
like
loser interview,
it felt
so
like the coach. It felt like the coach was tilted as well,
oh, for
from the sounds of it.
sure, for sure. Like if you just looked at his face, that you could tell
He looked,
he was
he looked,
not.
he looked head lost. He looked head lost, like for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Where do you go from here as 100 Thieves, though?
I have no idea. That's on David to figure out. For me, I'm like, all right, I'm getting ready to make it to finals. By the way, like we're beating 100 Thieves. We're gonna get our rematch with FlyQuest. We're actually gonna beat them this time, and we're gonna meet you guys in finals.
Sorry, what was that?
We're beating TL 3-0. Contracts is
Mhm.
absolutely gonna get gap Yuji. Like people have been talking about how amazing Yuji's gonna come in, and then when he came in, they're like, give him time. It's like, guess what? It doesn't matter how much time you give him. You put Yuji, you put like first of all, impact is gonna have negative impact this game. He's gonna play as tanks. We're gonna get the Yorick. We're gonna get the Gnar. We're gonna get the Rumble. We're gonna like Fudge is going to put on a clinic. Okay, Palafox isn't inting. He's not inting. Okay, we literally were talking about if
I
Palafox
knew
just
you.
improves his
I
game.
knew. When I watched your video, I was like, this guy flip flopped on Palafox from one series. I was like, I fucking knew it. He was waiting for a good game before he
I
said,
flip
I am
flop.
on.
I have
Yeah.
been consistent with Palafox the entire time. I've said he looks like the worst mid laner in the second worst mid. I've always said he's better than Abadage, but he's a bottom mid laner. But give him time, just like I did with Fudge at the beginning of the split, just like I did with Seiyuz when he first came in, just like I've done with everybody. Give this team time. I don't think you get rid of him. If you want to consider switching mid laners, you wait until the end of the year. I've always said this. I haven't
Oh
changed my
no,
stance.
no, because you were saying because you responded like it was an off comment, but you responded to when David said in his video, "Oh, it's fine because we're gonna get a new mid laner. Like, I'll be happy with that." And you were like, "Nope, I don't want that," or something. I'm paraphrasing
Oh
you, but
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
like
I said
made like
yeah,
a
yeah,
comment
yeah.
like, "Nope." I was like, "This guy's already flip flopped after a series."
No, but he was talking between
I
splits. I'm like, I don't want that. I'm
between
still
splits,
the
no, I
same.
agree.
I still have the same like stance. I still think you keep him for the full 2 years, but if you feel like, hey, there's an obvious upgrade in mid lane, we think we're gonna win championship with this. He's not like where we expect him to be. Then that's a coach decision. As a fan, I'd prefer the consistency. But I've always said give this guy time, and I think he's consistently like he's like slowly improving. Fudge improved quite quickly back to his like I would say like peak form. Right, he's playing very very well. I think Palafox is taking a longer time, but clearly, you know, he's playing better. I don't think just because he got a pentakill, all of a sudden he's back or like this is NRG Palafox. No, I just think he's like the amount of times he's been getting caught out, the mistakes that he's been making that we've constantly criticized them for, he hasn't been making. He's played hard matchups, went down CS, like that's expected. I don't hold that. I was like, oh, look at how much CS Quid had versus him. It's like, yeah, he's playing Annie into Azir. What did you expect? He consistently found FBI, flashed on him, he did his job. Like if you put him as an engaged mid laner and he engages and dies, and we win the team fight, and then you're like, oh, he sucks because he's dead. He died 6 times. That's just you not understanding his role, right? I'm not even like he played his role better than he normally does, regardless of what his stat line looks like. So he's playing better. Contracts is playing really well. I think we are like playing well in the parts of the map that actually matters versus Team Liquid. I think Team Liquid's top side is their weak point. I think Yon and Core GJ are like monsters. They are going to, I don't think they're going to demolish our bot lane, but they are going to get a lead every single game. I think it's not going to matter because our jungler is going to out jungle Yuji. And you're going to put in Umpty, and Umpty is not going to look great. And you're going to put in, like, Fudge is going to put Impact into the dirt because everybody's like, oh, Impact, now that he's playing tanks. They're like, oh, he's back. It's like, no, he's not. He's just like doing nothing. He's literally just playing Scion, and he lost 3-0. He's just not looking bad because he's not playing the Jax. He's not playing the Rumble. Like, you're just putting him on Scion duty. And that's the only reason he looks like somewhat decent. He is definitely not third team All Pro. So we have
I
like a
will.
clear way of winning this game.
I think it's a close series.
I think so too.
Okay, like I think it's a close series. I don't think it's like I don't want to discredit you, but the team you played was really shit.
But we played a FlyQuest and we showed the same caliber
You
of a good play consistently week over week.
What I will say about that is you have always played them good. You're a weird team in terms of you've always played that one top team like really close, and then well, I can't even say you played us close because I've only seen you once in 5 months.
Yeah, and even then
You
it
know
was
how
like
crazy it
a
is?
best of one, and it was before like resurgence as well. So
Right. I don't know, man. Like the one thing I will give TL, even though we 3-0'd them, is that they still controlled objectives very well against us,
oh,
and
they have
we
a much
were
better macro than we do. Their macro
right.
is like
And what I'm
much
saying
better.
is, but that's what I'm saying, and I think if they keep it tight, I like I do favor them because their objective setup is so much better. Even though you won, and I will give you credit. You looked a bit more controlled, a bit more disciplined, but they were also like TL was not going to give you the space that 100 Thieves gave you in them like objective fights. They were just they didn't want to be there.
I
Like
think Team Liquid don't team fight well. I think that's one of their weaknesses.
no, I don't. But they get away with it because their objective setup is a lot better than
Yeah,
other
but
teams.
they're
What I'm
they're
trying
playing
to
Yuji
say.
now. Like, here's the thing. With Umti makes mistakes that lose the games, but his objective setups are better than Yuji. And we can abuse that. And with Yuji, he's not as good at setting up the map and playing around with Core DJ the way like Umti plays.
I would love to see if they like because I'm not even gonna lie. The only time I felt a little bit iffy in that entire series was when Umpty played. Ironically,
Yeah,
that's
I
when
think
I
he
that's how
plays the
I
map
thought like
better.
if I'm not lying, I genuinely believe if Umpty starts, they may 3-0 you. Like if he played the entire series, no UG, you cut this bullshit 6-man roster out, and you just because Umpty's not okay. He's making mistakes. I genuinely didn't think he was that bad. Blabber didn't think he was like playing terribly, and
But it was only
like
one game. Yeah.
no, I mean like he said this like about the split. He didn't
Oh,
think
about the
Umpty
split?
was terrible player.
He's being
Like he
scapegoated
didn't.
for sure, yeah.
Of course. And I think, like, if you just had TL, I think the problem is the players have lost faith in UmpT, so
Yeah.
like it's not redeemable. But if you, uh, because the TL with UmpT is a lot better. I don't care what people say. Oh, UG's like better for this team. Like it's not the same level. And the only reason they stomped you as hard is because they completely set up those games for UG2. You can't do it. You can't do that in playoffs.
Yeah, we're not gonna fall like prey to the same. We're gonna be way more prepared. Like that was a game that actually didn't matter because it doesn't matter. We're still gonna play FlyQuest. I can see the players not playing as intensely or like just uh, Team Liquid also trying out strat. Like literally, if you heard APA, he was like, "Oh yeah, it's something he's been doing in solo queue," and we were like, "You know what? Why don't we try it this game?" Because like literally, this game doesn't matter. Like so. I'm I would be very shocked if they were able to get those same advantages by doing the same thing. I think our coaching staff will be much more prepared.
Yeah, I think you're on the up and up, but I think it's tough, man. I would say it's like 55-45 in TL's favor.
I'll
Like,
take those odds. I'll take those odds.
uh, of course, like if I would have told you at the start of the year you're going into a best of 5 against TL to make top 3, and your odds are 55-45 in their favor, you would take that and run.
I know. Yeah, yeah, I'll be like, "Ha, I scammed this guy." Yeah, I think
Ugh.
it's close. Like just being realistic, not like the fans like, "Oh, we're making it to finals," right? Like realistically speaking, I think Team Liquid have clear weaknesses that we can exploit. I think our team, our coaching staff, our players have done a good job of identifying the ways that we want to play, the ways that the enemy wants to play, and countering it. I think that's why we've been very close with FlyQuest. I think that's like a big reason why I think we lost 3-0, but at the same time it was very close. It's we identified like avenues of getting advantages, and we were able to get those advantages. We just weren't good enough to close. And I think against a team like FlyQuest, that costs you games. Against a team like Team Liquid, who has struggled in the same vein, I think we just close those games out. Do I think it's going to be 3-0 stomp? No, I just like messing with, what's his name, Russell. But do I think it's going to be like a 3-2? Probably. I think this is going to be the first Silver Scrapes. And I think we're going to take it because I have more faith in our players than I do in a Team Liquid who has been like having this weird 6-man roster, like losing trust. Like, okay, if it gets to game 5, do you play UG all 5 games? And if you are playing UG all 5 games, it's his first time game 5. Pressure, like highlight, knowing that he could be subbed out any moment. Like,
No, Auntie's game 5
okay, if
because
Umti's playing, this guy is tilted out of his mind. Like all the pressure of like being in game 5, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, if I lose this, I lose my spot. If I win this, like maybe I get to play against Cloud9 or FlyQuest. Like all that like mental added pressure is an advantage. And I think in a matchup where it's actually this close, every little advantage matters.
Well, either way, whoever wins is getting 3-0 the next series, but it's
I
fine.
don't. I don't. Okay, I don't think it's going to be a 3-0. I think if it's against, I'm predicting FlyQuest to lose. Actually, let's just get into it. Who do you have between FlyQuest and C9?
Well, you just said it. I think if there is a series where C9 wins, I think it's this one. Because I think their prep can only go so far, and they're going to prep a lot better for this series. Like, I genuinely believe they just did not take the FlyQuest series as serious as they probably should have. I think they were overconfident with how like their performances, like they were smashing TL Fly, they were good in scrims. I think they kind of let their foot off the gas, kind of just got overconfident with Fly, and like they got their shit kicked in for it, and deservedly so. But I think this time around they're gonna have like a lot better preparation, and they kind like FlyQuest kind of showed their cards with the like the Volibear cheese that they were doing.
The Rumble support. I think FlyQuest have more like cheese, or like more strategies prepared. I just have a lot of faith in what like the coaching staff of Cloud9. Also, FlyQuest winning coaching of the split is like, I know that award has always been like a Mickey Mouse award, but the fact it doesn't go to Cloud9 or Shopify, I thought those were the one and two. Like Shopify, look at where we started and look at where we ended. Just the regular season, right? Not the playoffs.
I
But
I
look at
mean, I don't even want to talk about coaching split. Like, no one knows. Like, even only me and you and like other media are privy to information about like the inner workings of teams. But the average fan is not going to know like what's the coaches like. You literally just have to base it off. Okay, who's performed the best and which teams punched above. Um, Sure, you could make a case for us because of where we were um last year compared to now. I think like the scouting of Loki is
yeah,
honestly, in
look at
my
how much
opinion,
he's
the best pickup.
improved.
Like honestly, the scouting of Loki is probably the best pickup of the year. Like the way that guy has glued our team together, it's absurd.
Yeah, C9 macro is legit. Like the amount of improvement C9 has done, the players. Thanatos has gotten so much better in his like team game. Like that doesn't come from nothing. Loki being able to come in as a rookie and play so well together with the team. He looks like he's not missing a beat. Like he was missing a beat like week 1, week 2, and all of a sudden he's like fixing these issues. Like the amount of improvement that was obviously you can demonstrate it with Cloud9 in terms of like their macro game. Even as like someone who's not a professional, I can see this. And with FlyQuest, like they're still trying to reach the high that they were back in Worlds 2024. And I get it, it was Worlds environment. It's so much easier to peak at that moment. But like the coaching staff was good. It was, but I think like Cloud9 coaching staff had a harder job to do and did a better job with a harder situation. I think Shopify's coaching staff had a very hard situation to deal with. And they were able to get much
Mhm.
better results. And like, I'm not saying they're better than FlyQuest, but I'm saying in terms of this award, if we're just for the split, I feel like we should have been second. And then FlyQuest maybe third. I think Team Liquid definitely don't win it because what the hell's happening with Team Liquid, right? 100 Thieves doesn't win it because like they've clearly shown like regression, not improvement. So yeah, I mean, sorry, getting back to the game, I think Cloud9 will be very, very prepared. I actually think that FlyQuest look to be peaking. And I think if they do make it to finals, they probably win just because they have that extra series to like polish up their play. But I do think that this series in specific, like you are catching Cloud9 at a time where FlyQuest hasn't fully peaked, in my opinion. And I think Cloud9 is going to come with a vengeance. And I think Cloud9 is going to be much more prepared and much more like well thought out in what they're going to do. They're not going to play FlyQuest comps again. Like they played FlyQuest comps against FlyQuest and lost. And I was like, surprise, surprise. They're going to go back to
I
C9
I
comps.
I noticed that. Like in the second game, I was like, "What have we picked?"
Yeah. If you just show me those drafts, I'll be like, oh, Cloud9 is on the right side and FlyQuest is on the left side. I'd be like, no, actually, it's the other way. So what? I would not have expected that.
Like, if this series goes correctly, it could be one of the best of fives we've seen in a very long time.
I think it's also going to be a Silver Scrapes. I think we're gonna get a really nice weekend. I think we have two very closely matched teams, and I'm just excited for this week. Like honestly, it's been a while since I've been like, man, this weekend's gonna be a banger. You know, like I
Hmm.
thought FlyQuest. I thought we were gonna get 3-1. I thought we were gonna get one game out of them, but we didn't. Even game two, like it should. I think we had an 8K gold lead we chucked. That should have been our one win. And then I predicted you guys to win 3-0. You guys did. Like I just think that this is the closest matchups we can have, and I'm hoping for some silver scrapes. But I am predicting Cloud9 to win.
I am too.
Yeah, but you're
I mean,
biased, so
of course, but I was genuinely thinking about this today. If we're going to win, it's now. But then again, if we win this weekend, I'm predicting us to win in finals because, like, obviously that's just how you go as a fan. All I want is to just get back to a LAN. I don't care if we win a zero, like, win 0 games at MSI.
I
Just
do. Representing my
okay.
region, like I definitely care.
But as a C9 fan, it has been since 2023.
Yeah, it's been a year and a half.
Like, oh, I am so privileged that it's only been a year and a half since my team made an international event. Well, some have never ever gone to one, but
You know,
uh,
you guys have never made an internet. You guys haven't made a single international event since Shopify joined the league. Completely unrelated stat, have nothing to do with anything, but just wanted to throw that out there because we love stats in
just a
this house.
random stat.
Yeah, just a random stat. It's like
We
APA
have
being
as
like,
many
"Oh, JoJo
international
hasn't made."
appearances as you.
Yeah, you have. That's right. It's like APA saying, "Oh, JoJo hasn't made it international since I joined the league because he knocked him out every single time." That makes sense, except for the last time, right? Because that was 100 Thieves that knocked him out. But regardless, this one has nothing to do with anything. But same vein. LTA finals though, summer finals. So split three finals, September 27th and 28th, is happening in Texas. Um, I think you know a little bit more about the venue than I do, but I think David had a whole video like even showing people on the venue itself to like let people know what it's supposed to look like with the energy. I'm excited for it. I'm 95% sure I'm gonna be there. There's like a 5% chance I'm not gonna be there, but like I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go. I'm excited that finally there's something close. Texas isn't that close, but it's not LA. Like LA is just way too far. I would have loved for MSI to be like in on the East Coast. It's not. It's literally next to LA. So again, way too far, way too expensive. Can't make it for MSI, but hopefully LTA finals. Like I'm excited to go there, to watch some amazing League of Legends and to really. Last time I've been to a league event was 2023 summer finals because that's the last time it was on the East Coast or not on the West Coast, right? Um, so I'm looking forward to that. I think Texas is a nice spot. I don't know much about the venue. Like I know David said it's a really nice venue and it should be filled out. It should be very loud because of the way the venue is set up, and it should be a good experience. And he even showed some of the COD, which very different crowd, I understand, but some of the highlights there, and it honestly looked really cool. So I'm excited to be part of that crowd.
Firstly, what I care about is how they're going to actually set it up because I am of the opinion you should set it up like the Call of Duty one, where you have like it's in the middle and you have everyone around. But I've seen like just generic photos of like concerts and stuff there, and they have like a very tiny stage like right at the at the back, and then you just have the row of chairs coming like backwards. And I'm so scared they're gonna make like a tiny stage, and then like the crowd around. I'd rather have in like you've had in practically most LCS finals, like you have like the centerpiece with the screens above, and then you have the crowd like encircling the players.
I mean, I honestly I have no idea what they're gonna do, but I hope the tailgate, like, I want to see all the teams at the tailgate. That's one thing I definitely want to see. I think when I went there in 2023, there were two teams. Like, I think 100 Thieves was there, but like they were kind of half there. They weren't really like they didn't have a bunch of stuff there. I want to feel the energy, and it's been such a long time since I've been excited for something like this, for a league, for like in person. And I think this is the time. I hope.
The problem we have is one of the so because it's the LTA Championship, one of the days will have CBL representatives, and while they are going to travel in numbers, you're you're limiting the number of like NA teams that can be like represented at this event
Ah, I
because
see what you're saying. I didn't
so
think about
like
that at
let's just say
all.
okay let's just say you mirrored this split for summer, right? Imagine Shopify would have been like that third team. So then you have like Shopify in the third place match with like a C9 or Fly. But that next split, you're going to have an LTA South team. So while you're going to have representation, it, you want the NA teams to be there. In my opinion, I've never enjoyed this cross referencing. Like I know we could probably talk about it another episode in terms of like the actual overall state because there is some pushback on like from the media side finally on do we go back to the LCS branding? But yeah,
Uh, I'm actually quite interested to see. I'll do some digging, see what I can find out if like teams are planning, because you start planning now, regardless of whether you make it or not, right? And just see like
well,
what the interest
even if
is.
C9 aren't there, they're seeing if even if C9's they're not in the top three, they will still be present at the thing because there's definitely got to be an activation with Kia to like because they even said it in the like, in the response to it. We'll see you there in our Kia.
Okay, so C9 will be there. I'm assuming Team Liquid will also be there. Probably FlyQuest. Like I feel like they're relatively good about doing that. I don't know if 100 Thieves shows up. I mean, Shopify have
I
always been
think
there, whether we're there or not. So I think
I
they.
think for the LTA because it's the inaugural LTA year, I assume all teams will be present.
I hope so.
Surely they have to be contractually like for one, right?
I can't confirm or deny. I have no
Like
idea.
was the teams I can't remember was the teams present in the finals for last split? Oh wait, because it's in Brazil, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think there was
Okay,
like
so so
the
we'll find out this
traditional.
split, right? Like if teams are going to show up to these things.
Yeah, I have a feeling they are, but like you said, you never really know what's gonna happen. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the next topic? I guess we
We
could
have
talk about the I was gonna say I guess we could briefly talk about your thoughts on like the push for LCS to come back.
sure. Let me organize my thoughts. I don't know. Do you have like something ready? Because I need to think about it for a second.
I even if it doesn't tangibly like make a difference, it feels right for the fans because no fan asked for this, and Riot spent so much money on a rebrand that no one wanted, no team wanted, no player, no league, and like they've made it worse. Like from an SEO standpoint, I like because I directly do this. I have to like work with this. It is a nightmare to get LTA to pop up on Google. Like because it's if you type in LTA, it's the law like it's something tennis association. So like if you remember like on Google when you would type in LCS,
It still shows up on it, I think.
well LCS?
Yeah, like if I show up LCS, it still shows up instead of LTA. Like I used, yeah,
Maybe it's because I'm in the UK, so maybe it doesn't appear in my browser. But I remember when I used to type in LCS, it would straight away come up.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. LTA doesn't show up, but LCS does.
Yeah, like, do you know how bad that is that they've not been able to market their league to a point where, or like structured the league from an SEO standpoint where their league doesn't even appear on Google, but if you type in like the LEC, you get a nice fancy graphic that like
Yeah.
shows all their games.
So I've said this before. I will continue to say this because I truly believe it. I do not consider the LTA rebrand a failure because of Riot. I think that let me the L okay, Riot Games has a group of people that are working very very hard to make things work based on the decisions of a group of people who don't know what they're doing. So you have some people that don't know what they're doing and then people that have to actually do the stuff that they're being told. I think the people that are doing the stuff are quite talented and know what they're doing, but they don't have a choice because decisions are being made above their head that is not good for the product. And so for a long time, I think for like 2 years now, I've been saying the LTA or LCS at that time, like we should not be looking at the LTA or LCS to improve the league because they are consistently going to make decisions to make it worse. And then the talent, the production staff, and everybody is going to have to find ways of making it good. And they're going to do their best, and things are going to look good, but we're going to say why are they doing this instead of obvious option A or obvious option B. Why are they like trying to bend their back, twist their backs, and like do all this stuff to make it work instead of just changing the decision because it's not up to them. And so for the long time, I've been like, if we want this to succeed, it has to be the teams building fan bases. That's why I've always looked at the teams, and even last week we talked about it. I'm like, look, I think the teams need to be doing more because Riot is not going to take the steps to make their product successful. We have seen them have multiple golden geese, golden eggs, and just waste it time and time and time again because of bad decision making. And then promoting the people that make the bad decisions. Guess what? You're going to consistently have more bad decisions. We have seen it happen. We're continuing to see it. It should not be a surprise to people. And so, like, when you say, oh, does bringing LCS back, would that help? Yes. Do I think that's going to fix anything? No. I think Riot's just going to continue to make bad decisions. So, like,
It would be a case of, okay, so like, say they announce tomorrow they're going to bring back the LCS. In my opinion, I would respond to that with, okay, but that's step one. Now, like, what's your next steps? Because just bringing back the LCS is not going to fix anything, like drastically. I think the analyst desk is terrible. I think the feel of the broadcast is terrible. I don't like the number of times we're in the closet because we have to move out of the way for Valorant. I don't enjoy anything about the broadcast that made it feel good, and like obviously I do think they maybe hamstrung a little bit in the marketing department, but they're still completely below like any. It felt like it, it felt like in some ways from the marketing team that they didn't want to do the rebrand, and like there was no effort really to market this. And like secondly, why would they see the rebrand of the LEC and decide we're gonna put two leagues together and make this like a nightmare like SEO wise? Because like, even when you go on like the Lower Sports website, it goes to LTA Seoul. So like people
because they're
thinking,
earlier than us. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
right, but because you have people that genuinely like, okay, you have dumbasses that will go on there and they say, oh, Cloud9 and Team Liquid aren't in the league anymore. Guess I don't need to watch that. Like, you will genuinely people shouldn't be leaving because of a brand name though. They people have been leaving because Riot has given them reasons to leave, and they probably thought this is like the last straw. So I don't think people leaving was because the name went from LCS to LTA. But
I think it's the yeah, like you said, the straw that broke the camel's back. But I think like if teams had better brands and like you're a diehard Team Liquid fan, even if it's LCS or LTA, regardless of the horrible decisions that Riot makes, you're still gonna want to watch Team Liquid games. That's what
If
I've
I
been
wasn't
pushing
media,
for.
I'd still be here. If I wasn't media, I'd still be here. It's still like in some ways the exact same in terms of you watch your domestic games, you see if your team qualifies for the international event, and then you watch them at MSI or Worlds. Like it's still at its core the same.
Okay, I sorry to cut you off, but I watched every single EU LCS game, and then I watched every single LEC game. Sorry, not every single every single EU LCS game starting season 5. I watched all of them. Season 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 2023, the LEC changed their format to 4 splits. And by like split 3, I was completely burned out and I stopped watching. And I haven't consistently watched LEC since. I know they've changed their format multiple times, but a format decision legitimately made me not want to watch anymore. So like I if I had a team at that time that I was like, man, I only want to watch that team play, then I probably would only watch their games. Like if I was a huge G2 fan, for example. But I think like a lot of people probably had the same thing happen to them when it comes to like LTA. It's like they watch every single year, but because they didn't have like a specific team that they really liked or whatever it is, they just didn't end up watching the next split.
People really like. I understand in some ways why there is player fandom. Like as much as I don't like it, I can understand why because there is a recycling of teams that it's just cringe. Like if you lose Shopify, next sorry, if you lose 100 Thieves like next year, that's another team with historical branding that you're completely gutting from the league. And like you'll literally be left with like C9, TO, and Fly as like the old guard.
Which is crazy because C9 wasn't even there from the first split. FlyQuest came in like what 2018 and freaking like
We were there.
Team
We were
Liquid.
missing for one split, man.
Hey,
One
I said
split.
you guys missed one split. You also weren't there like 2012, 2011. I know there was no LCS, but like you didn't play in those tournaments, right?
We played in like some, but we weren't like it wasn't like the OG like squad. It was like other names, like because we did have Turtle on our team before.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's right. Quantum. Yeah, you guys were Quantum.
So like yeah, we were mixing between like Quantic Gaming and C9 at that time.
Yeah, yeah. All
So
right,
like we
I'll
were
give you
there,
that
but we
much.
just didn't.
You guys are the old guard. I'll give you that much. Ah,
Do you
but
know what really annoys me?
what?
Sorry, if you're going to like, I hate the people that are talking about like the league dying. It's not. It's not dying. Okay, maybe it's not what it once was. But Riot are never gonna like kill it.
Yeah, it's not doing well, but that doesn't mean it's dead. People usually use the term like, "Oh, it's dead" to mean like, "Oh, it's just not doing nearly as well as it used to." Which sure, if you want, but I agree with you. It's not dead.
There's still enough to like make me watch. The only thing that okay, not the only thing. The thing I hear about the most about the broadcast is the crowd. Or sorry, lack of.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like a crowd.
Because it's crazy even just going from like 2020 because I was watching today like a rebroadcast of C9 versus 100 Thieves in playoffs in 2022 is like an upper bracket like matchup. And there was a loud crowd. I was like, I ain't heard this in a while. And that was
Yeah,
2022. That's not even that's like 3 years ago.
that's sad to think about. To be honest, like how
It's
much
sad
we've fallen in
how
such a
quickly it's fallen.
yeah,
It's
it's
like
quite
how
sad to think
quickly.
fast that happened.
I'm telling you, like the closet stuff and um the lack of early announcements for people to actually travel.
Yeah, I haven't really
Like,
appreciated that, to be honest, but I can't really complain, can I? I guess I can, right? But yeah, I feel like we have bigger problems than that. Like I just feel like we have so many problems to begin with. It just feels like that's why I'm just like I've given up on like having Riot do like relying on Riot for anything. At this point, it's just like okay, what can teams do? Because they can actually like make a difference, whereas Riot is just not gonna care about anything.
and as our conversation last week, like indicated, the teams are doing nothing.
Yeah,
Speaking
I
of
don't think they're
nothing,
doing
shall we move
nothing.
on
Like
to?
they're trying. Oh yeah, last topic. So I just want to make a comment that I think is very very funny. Um, the LCK, I've talked about why the format sucks, why I very much dislike the format, why I think it's disrespectful to the players. Some of the ways that they were talking about the format as well, talking about the split, talking about like how things matter. And then I was thinking about it, and I was like, okay, everybody is like coming to the conclusion that the format sucks because there's no finals for LCK. The split, it's literally just like, okay, we figure out who's going to which group, and then we have a little like best of 5 for the top team, and then like there's a lower bracket, but the lower bracket doesn't like there's no finals, there's no stage event, there's nothing, there's no trophy, there's nothing, there's no accolades. It's just part of a big split. It's like a halfway point. And then I was like, I I have a feeling that they intentionally did this, that they're protesting Riot's decision. And then I think I heard someone say how like LCK are probably run by the same people who are running OGN and are not happy with Riot. And then I was like, wait a minute, this makes sense. If they're like, oh, you want us to do all this like weird formatting when initially we had 3 splits, and then you were like, no, 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 the whole world has to go to 2 splits, and then we went to 2 splits, and we could only do it the way you wanted, and then we started doing things a little bit our way, and then you're like, no, no, you have to do it this way, and you have to have this schedule because we're adding more events, and like you're taking away our lands. You know what? We're just not going to give you a finals. If you want us to only have one roadshow, but you want us to have 3 splits, screw you. We're not doing it that way. We're only gonna have one roadshow. We're only gonna have one finals. The first split not even gonna count. It's just gonna be a qualification, an LCK Cup, a glorified, what did we used to have? Lock-in tournament. Split 2, no finals, no roadshow, no finals. We're not giving you anything, Riot. If you're gonna keep making decisions like these, we're gonna play tough to get. We're gonna go along with you guys. I think LCK is just protesting, and honestly, I was like very disappointed in them, and like very very much like this is disrespectful to your players. Now I'm like, honestly, more power to you. I'm on your side. I respect it. Put your foot in the sand. Be like, hey, you're gonna take bad decisions. We're gonna show you how bad it can be. So that's just the comment I wanted to make. That's why I threw in LCK format because I was like very judgmental and like harsh and critical on like how bad of a fan experience it is, and for like branding and for everything that they've been doing. And now I kind of understand a little bit more from that lens of like, at some point you're just like, what the hell? You can't keep doing this to us. And maybe
Especially
yeah.
when, especially when you just had a team go 18-0 as well.
And breaking viewership records. They broke viewership records last year in spring versus T1.
And the
Went
thing
5 games, amazing. Yeah.
and if you actually look at the quality of the teams this year, they're actually good. Like in the past, it's been a bit iffy with the LCK. Like during the domestic splits,
Uh-huh.
they always say, "Oh, they seem to look that good," but genuinely, Humble Life and Gen G look fucking incredible.
The question is, are they
Like,
gonna drop a single series? Like the question isn't, oh,
uh,
is it China or is it okay, BLG are
Gen
back in
G,
business, sure,
okay,
but
Gen G, no. I think BLG are the only team that can possibly like on the international stage. I think they'll have that experience of they've been here, done it. They can maybe like ruffle some feathers because that wouldn't surprise me. Like I haven't watched enough LPL recently, but if you're saying they're back in business after what looked like was their downfall,
They still have to win the
then
split. Like I'm still waiting. They might like they've won like a bunch of splits and they 3-0 yes they look like they're back, but it could be like 2 weeks and then like they get figured out. I don't know. I'm gonna wait until they win the split before I start talking about BLG because they haven't won yet. But sure, maybe BLG
but they
can
have
win,
enough.
but still.
They have enough international pedigree where, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled off something against Hanwha, but Genchi,
Yeah, they look
they are a
amazing.
different beast. And
Chovy is the best player in the world. Like, I, yeah, I know we say that as every year. We're like, oh my god, he's playing like the best player in the world right now. It's like he just keeps doing it. He's playing like the best player in the world. It was Zeus split one. It's definitely Chovy split two. It's like it's not even a contest.
so I assume you're predicting Genji to win MSI.
Let's get to MSI first, and then we'll find out. I think it's a little too early. Like, I don't know. Maybe they start faltering. Maybe like all of a sudden the meta changes. Like, I think this is the split MSI is going to be played on, if I'm not mistaken. But
Do you know
this is the
why I
patch.
am a little bit confident in BOG? Have you seen the top lane buffs that are coming through?
No, I didn't.
Aatrox and Jax. So it's bin time, baby.
Yeah, but it's fearless, so he gets them 2 games and then
True,
it's all over.
true, but one bin Jax game to start off the split at the series and shattered a mental. Dude, I promise you, Jax is never getting played in the BOG series.
Maybe you just
He will
permaban it.
go
I don't know.
through. He will be permabanned.
We'll see. I think King can play his Gragas into it. I think Zeus can play his Gragas into it. Like we've seen them try to counter it. It doesn't work, but we've seen them try and like win the series that way. So maybe they give it to him so they don't have to ban it. And they're like, if we lose, we lose. We'll win the next games. I don't know. It's like quite interesting to see. I want to. I don't know that Genji is gonna win. Like they're right now. I would say yes, but like I want to wait until both splits are done and see what like if BLG just falter and like AL win the split or TES decide to win, like who knows what's gonna happen, right? So um LPL is really wide open. I think anyone can win. Well, not anyone. JDG I thought could win, but they decided to not play League of Legends anymore. The world has so much League of Legends. It's kind of hard to keep up, but it's fun.
This week's gonna be a banger, though. I know we already spoke about it, but
Yeah, I can't wait. All right, you got any final shoutouts?
uh, no, I don't think I have any like burning people I need to shout out. Maybe shout out to David for how swiftly he got that dance up.
Dude, he was definitely preparing. He definitely practiced it beforehand. There's no way he just like looked at it and did it. He knew he was gonna lose.
Any shouts for you?
Uh, yeah.
Actually,
Shout
I'll shout out Carolyn for being here.
and
I
being a
always
Shopify
like
fan.
I
Yeah.
okay, maybe I don't shout out Carolyn.
uh, she just said Marna speaking nothing but truth, and then you shout at her.
Oh
Come
wait,
on,
she
man.
did. Okay, yeah. I'm now a Carolyn stan again.
Yeah, shout out to everybody who came to watch week over week. And in about an hour and a half or an hour and 15 minutes, I'm going to go live again. I'm going to be scrimming against another team. So if you don't know, I'm part of a team that we're planning on joining next split, not the split, to a rec league. It's a Diamond 4 cap league. We've been scrimming a bunch of like opponents, and I've been streaming it, but usually it's like other people who might not be in teams yet or whatnot. We're yesterday we screamed an actual team from AEL and got absolutely stomped. So today we're swimming another team from that league, and hopefully we don't get stomped and we do the stomping. So yeah, come watch me in an hour and 15 minutes. Either stomp or get stomped. I don't think it's going to be in the middle though. I think we're either going to be better or we're going to be a lot worse.
I wish you luck.
All right, thanks, man. All right. Thanks, guys, for watching, and we'll see you next week when C9 and Shopify win 3-0.
Hell yeah.